All right, and we are live. Welcome to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, on what has turned out to be probably the most epic 6 hours, 7 hours, the whole trip so far. Hey, Marshall. I mean,
Good evening, everybody, from an undisclosed location from the
I'm
Dairy State.
from the great dairy state of Wisconsin, and I'll tell you guys right off the bat, this city ain't no joke up here. This city is the real deal. This city of Milwaukee has a vibe to it that is palpable. It is real. The I just think that the whole city, I know it's got its good areas and things like that, but there's a feel of danger in this city that I've gotten in no other location than that I have been in, to be quite honest. It was a day of driving up. It was a day of miscues of choosing the wrong exit to go off of in Milwaukee and ending up in a not so great area. But luckily for us, the day turned out to be a decent day, and then it turned out to be an epic day. I was able to meet a wonderful YouTuber, Desert Donny, that I have known for the better part of 4 years on YouTube. Somebody that had come on my panels way back when I did my early panel chats. How you doing, Jen? Hello, everybody. Hello, Deborah R. Hello, Ward S. Somebody had come on my panel. How you doing, Oda May? Nice to see you, honey. Somebody had come on my panel, Desert Donny, and sort of disappeared for a while. He was a Milwaukee man, and then I knew that he had gotten a Class B RV, and to have him roll up on, we had literally two stream snipes within 1 hour here on YouTube. I'm going to tell you, the first stream snipe was no joke. It was a horrifying moment for me when a man in a bandana came up. I had my side window open. I was communicating, so I could talk through the window to Marshall's van. And a guy comes over and has a bandana on his face and leans down on the side of my driver's side door and says, "Hey, how you doing?" Now, at that point, that guy could have said to me, "Move over. We're going to take a little bit of a ride." That guy could have, and the guy took a step back and was packing heat on him, and then also a knife. We're talking about a situation that was no joke. And I think that you would be astounded if you knew who it was, and I will reveal that in a bit, but I will tell you what. It is not Narse, okay? And I'm also going to tell you it is not the king of all things, all right? It's somebody that you would probably never be able to guess who it is. But I think anybody in a situation that has that type of encounter, number one, in doing some pre-research, I obviously did not pick the best area. The initial look at the area seemed to be okay, in near downtown on the lake. And then within, 1 minute of pulling off, I knew I had made a huge mistake here. I had the stream going the whole time. So obviously two people were able to find me as a result of that. But in a way, it turned out to be
I just want to say
a
this real
positive
quick and
thing.
chime in real quick. Before you reveal who it is, I want to say my recollection of the event before you reveal
Go
who it
ahead,
is.
tell what you saw, because you were
Okay.
standing a distance away at that time.
Uh,
And the question in my head was, what
first
is
of all,
Marshall going to do in this situation?
is this all you wanted to say about this topic, about the subject?
No, I'm going to go in great detail about this, because this was.
Let me give my
You
recollection
can
if I
give your
can.
recollection, because this was.
We pulled into
How you doing,
Milwaukee.
Sean?
We pulled into Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to a Planet Fitness. Now, usually before I go to an area, I research the demographics of the area.
And let me just say, Vicky says, yes, I believe Elvis planned it. But when I reveal who it is, you'll know that there was no way in God's green earth that it was
Let me just
planned.
give my recollection
Go
if
ahead.
I can. First of all, we pulled into Milwaukee, Wisconsin, not knowing exactly where we're going to go. before I go to any area of any city, I do my research on the demographics of the area, poverty-wise, and if it's a good area, bad area. We pulled up to this area that I did not, Rosie recommended this area. I didn't do my research on the demographics on it. We pulled in, and ever since we got into this area, it was completely an African American area. Not that I have anything against anyone, but it looked like a particularly pretty poverty-stricken area. There was a lot of people walking on the streets, and right away I didn't feel that it was a safe area. So we pulled over, and I got out of my van, and I walked outside by shade, and I went to tell Rosie that, hey, I don't feel
wig snatcher.
I don't feel safe in this area. So I went to do I'm going to do some research on my phone to see where we can go from here to a better area. As that happened, maybe about 5 or 6 minutes being outside, I noticed there was an individual that approached Rosie's van dressed all in black. This individual had a bandana over their face and a baseball cap. And my first thing that I just thought was maybe it's just somebody panhandling for money. But then I took a second look and I noticed there was a bandana on this person's face. And at that moment, red flags started going up. Rosie was engaging with this person verbally, and because for the most part, I know that Rosie is not, for the fact, let me just point this out to everybody. The difference between me and Rosie is that I grew up in Benton, Arkansas, a small town outside of Little Rock, which is a pretty safe area. I didn't grow up in Baltimore like Rosie did. I'm not used to being in the hood or ghetto. I'm not used to being in bad areas and walking and chooching and interacting with people in the ghetto. But she is. Rosie is literally a person who's fearless. You could put her in any, put her in any ghetto anywhere, and she would walk chooch without pepper spray, without a gun, knife. She's literally fearless, Rosie. And she was engaging with this person verbally, I could tell. So I thought to myself, maybe it's just somebody asking her for money. And then, like I said, I took a second look, and it was this person had a bandana covered on her face. And at that point, this individual started walking towards me. And I thought that he was probably just going to ask me for money. But then I looked closer, and this individual revealed that they had a gun in their pocket, and I believe also some holster for a knife. But I saw the gun more. And I thought to myself, well, I noticed that maybe this person was from YouTube because they didn't ask me for money. It was just, we started kind of having a conversation. And then I thought to myself, this person was being a little bit volatile in their words. I forgot really what was said. And I thought to myself, well, maybe this is somebody that just didn't like me, that wants to intimidate me and stuff. And I thought to myself, well, okay.
Yeah, he was carrying McFly, a knife and a gun.
Let's put two and two together. I'm in a parking lot. I'm in a bad area. This individual walks up to me with a bandana, all dressed in black, and he's talking to me in a mildly volatile way, kind of in an intimidation tactic way.
And I have this on video. I haven't uploaded it yet.
And I thought to myself, well, maybe this is somebody who just doesn't like me that's from this area. Maybe this person just wants to intimidate me as a prank. I was thinking to myself, well, maybe it's just somebody who's... and then I thought to myself, when this person showed me their gun, at that point I was afraid for my life. I thought that that I was going to get shot or stabbed. I was... at that point, fear struck me and stuff. And just my life just flashed before my eyes, literally. And then, and I wasn't really sure what was going on. Then Rosie came over with her camera and she started talking like this guy was a fan or something. And I still wasn't sure what was going on. So I started arguing with Rosie, saying, "Why did you bring me to this area? Why did you say where we're at?" And little by little, I felt more at ease with this person, kind of. And then I didn't know who it was. And in a nutshell, this person said one thing to me. And at that point, I knew who it was. This person revealed to me, they said, "Well, who do you know that has a Glock?" And something flashed in my head. And then I knew who it was. And I'll leave it at that. I'll let Rosie, that's pretty much all I want to say about the whole incident, as far as up to that point. But when this person says, who carries a Glock, do you know who it is? And just something flashed in my head, then I knew who it was, and I was at ease. During the whole situation, just the whole, imagine like being in a haunted house and you see a ghost. This is how I felt, because the haunted house was this really bad area that we were in. And this individual being in this area that fit the kind of profile of to be in that area. And it was just a feeling of relief when I heard that, when I finally kind of figured out who it was. And that's my recollection of the whole
Now, as far as the
incident.
verbal encounter goes, when the individual came up to me and put rested his arms on the side of my window, and his face, my window was down, it was 84 degrees, and he leaned into the driver compartment here, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?"
I just want to say one last thing, though, before Rosie continues on. When this individual walked up to Rosie's van, I was about maybe 30 to 40 feet away from Rosie's van. So the verbal exchange that happened between them, or what the initial situation, I couldn't hear what they were talking about. I could just see this individual approaching Rosie's van for maybe about 30 or 40 seconds. And
So he leaned down and said, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "Good." And he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just on I'm just on my phone here checking my messages." And there was silence, and we just kind of looked at each other. And I was honestly expecting him to say, because he took a step back, and I could see that he was carrying, and there was something sheathed on the other side of him. And I thought he was going to direct me to move to the passenger seat, and we were going to, take off for parts unknown or whatever in Milwaukee. And this was going through my head at that time. And then, he's like, "Well, who are you messaging?" And I said, "I'm just checking my messages on my phone." And then he leaned in and he said to me, he got real close to me, and he said to me, "I'm not the one that got your AdSense taken away." And right then and there, I knew that it was somebody from YouTube. It was not King of All Things. It was not Narse, as some people have speculated. This is somebody that I've known in the community for a long time, but he chose to reveal himself today. And it became a great meetup at that particular time. I'm not used to conversing with people that are packing heat, much less a knife. I started to do a video, and this individual immediately brandished his firearm as well as his knife. That's why I had to take that stream down immediately, because I would have been immediately struck as a severe violation of YouTube's terms and conditions. That's why I took down that initial video, and I told the individual, "You cannot brandish any kind of weapons on YouTube." Proceeded to have a really good meetup. This individual lives in the area here. He's actually a high quality professional person. I'm not going to reveal what industry he is, but he's a professional. He's somebody that enjoys firearms for marksmanship, and to
are you
some
going to let me
extent,
announce who he is?
I'll let you in a minute. He's somebody that enjoys target shooting and things like that. A very high caliber professional individual, But when I matched the YouTube name, when he finally revealed his YouTube name, and I told him, well, I'm not videoing, you can just take the bandana down, and he did, and we kind of had a laugh at that point. But he, he was a really nice individual. He gave his funds to have a dinner tonight, and then a little after we spent about an hour with him. But he was nothing like I expected his YouTube name to be. And then we'll talk about the Desert Donny pulling up. In other words, we had 2 stream snipes within 1 hour today, because I was telling Marshall and complaining, we didn't meet anybody in Chicago, and within 1 hour, we had 2 people roll up on us in the parking lot. Now, I will say on the downside, if you're going to meet somebody, this is probably not the best way to meet somebody under this. I know the guy's known to be a prankster. He's known to be kind of a smart aleck and stuff, but he's a nice guy at the end of the day. But my engine was still running at that point. And guys, with my background in CIA training, you're trained to turn the wheels towards the individual's feet, so that if you do take off and drive, you crush their ankles and their feet with your rear tires with a severe left-hand turn. And if you're fast enough, the person actually goes under the rear tires, and it's like game over for them. Because he'll never know how close I came with this standoff to feeling like I've got to do something to break this deadlock of this situation, because I had no idea. That's a joke, McFly. CIA, everybody thinks I'm former CIA. But I had no idea what Marshall's reaction would be if he knew what was coming down. What would he do if he saw me go into the passenger seat and this guy get behind the wheel? I don't know what his next move would have been. I don't think he would take off in his van. He'd probably call 911 and report it. But it could have been a day. It could have ended badly. I guess that's the point that I'm trying to make. But it ended really, really well. So with that, now I will let Marshall reveal who the individual is, because he's been on Marshall's channel for a long time, on and off, and my channel to some extent too. The guy turned out to be a really nice individual, and I'm happy to extend he paid it forward with wanted to gift us with some funds for dinner. And I invited him because he did reveal himself, and he's somebody that's known to me to be a future wrench holder on my channel. He's somebody that does appreciate Marshall and does take off for him, and I think he'll be a nice addition. He's not somebody that's going to be popping people out, but he does have a presence on YouTube. So I'm going to close my mouth now and just let Marshall to reveal, because he's actually known Marshall longer than I have and been more involved in his particular channel. Let's let some people take a guess on here, Marshall, before
I'll let them take a guess.
Take a guess.
While they're guessing of who it is, I just wanted to say one thing.
Sure, Wes, it doesn't matter if it's a half hour later. It's my chat. I can take all the time that I want to talk about it. So,
whoever people think it is, type it in the side chat. But before I reveal who it is, and we'll let them just guess who it is, I think, and I'm going to say this to that individual and to anybody on YouTube. If you come up to someone in an intimidating way, whether it's a bandana, whether it's a mask, whether it's late at night, you've got to remember that some RVers, some YouTubers out there are armed. And what happened today could have ended up really bad.
Hello, Mr. X.
Hello, Mr. X. I think that this individual put himself in danger. And if he was to approach somebody in this manner, any YouTuber that could be armed, this could have got him shot easily, don't you think, Rosie?
Well, or at least hurt,
in a way.
And hurt.
So I wouldn't advise this sort of a prankster style method to meet someone. I don't think it's the wisest thing to do, but it was done. In the end, it was an adrenaline rush because, like I said, just like Rosie's saying, our lives literally flashed before our eyes. I thought
No,
it
but there
was,
very well could have been, Mr. X. When you see somebody take a step back from your window and, let it be known through their actions that they're carrying, and then on the other side have a sheathed knife, well, it's something that, it's not something you're apt to forget in a moment and just blow it off. I think the reaction for a lot of people would have been to be screaming at the top of their lungs, trying to blow the horn to make a scene. I cannot impress enough how face to face this was with, in this hood that we were and all that. It was a classic setup to be robbed or worse, and I'm not going to minimize it. Yeah,
it
it turned
wasn't
out great.
Carlos Martinez like
It
people were thinking.
wasn't
It
Beta
wasn't
Boy
King of all
Elvis.
things. It wasn't Beta Boy Elvis. But I'll finally reveal who it is to everybody. A man that loves Rosie O'Kelly. He's asking about you, Mr. X. Loves his Assyrian King. A man that has been watching from the very beginning. One of the first van dwellers on YouTube, Mr. Caleb S., African American gentleman that went into trucking. This man has been there from day number one since your Assyrian King's career on YouTube. It's not King of all things. It's not Carlos Martinez. It's not Beta Boy Elvis. But I will announce to you who it is. And you all will hail. And you all shall honor and respect the man that has got his king's back 24/7 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And you better believe he's packing. Not only is he packing uncut girth like your Assyrian King, he's packing heat, baby. And that man is the IRC bully, baby.
Woo! My goodness, what a reveal.
And if you jump on the king of the free world, if you jump on Rosie O'Kelly, you're jumping on IRC bully, daddy. And you better believe, and we got 200 people watching, you better believe he's literally packing down there in every conceivable way. For all you BBWs, for all you trolls, for all you women in that drama community, you better recognize.
Hey Brad, how you doing? Nice to see you. Well, when the time came and we finally said, oh, reveal your name and everything, you could have knocked me over with a feather, because you always have a vision in your head of who somebody is on YouTube, and it did not match who I thought it was at all. It was in fact quite a polished individual, and just somebody that enjoyed, had a license and permit to carry. But he turned out to be an awesomely nice guy. We spent an hour talking. We were talking about some of the things on the channel, and he kind of insisted on giving us some money for a meal. And he turned out to be a super nice guy, and I was thrilled to have put a face to somebody that I've seen the man behind the bandana, of course, but we had a good conversation.
It was great. It was I gotta say, I've been on YouTube for 5 years, and I've never had an adrenaline rush like that. It was the greatest meetup of any YouTuber ever. Just the way he did it. It was, let me tell you something.
Well, I said anybody can pull that off as much as it was, and to stream snipe us and then to pay it forward. Yeah, he deserves some credit and some recognition, and he's not one to just indiscriminately boot people out, but he's just. It's an encounter that went from the worst of the worst to the best
To the
of the
best
best,
of the best.
within a half hour
I
or
just,
so.
you're talking about a man that has been watching me for literally almost 5 years. You're talking about a man that's, first of all, this man is educated. He's an IT professional. He's a great person. He has a good heart, and he really, really is upset at a lot of people out there that produce all this hate and evil towards me, whether it's people on this chat or trolls, moderators, whoever it may
Hey,
be.
Red
He
Pill.
doesn't like the hate. And he wanted to let Rosie know that. He let me know that. And there's a lot of good people out there, just like the
Hey,
IRC
Happy
bully
Meal.
out there. But this man, I'm going to tell you something. I got to say tonight, I always call myself, the showstopper, the king of the free world. I'm the show. Well, tonight, it wasn't the Bergs, wasn't the show. It wasn't Melton John. It wasn't Rosie O'Kelly. It wasn't Elvis Travels. Tonight, the show belonged to the IRC bully. And tonight, like I said, with those four fingers in person, officially inducted this man as a made member of the Wing Bull family. In the flesh, I met this man. And let me tell you something, there's a lot of other IRC bullies out there, but this man is a one of a kind, and I've got the utmost respect for this man, the utmost respect. And that's why he's going to get a wrench on my channel. The first thing, he's going to get a wrench on my channel.
That's right, Miss Coeli. You know how it came down for me. So, like I say, things turned out very well with him. We have a friend he's in the area now. Somebody said,
what an introduction, Rosie.
Where is he now? He's working. So,
exactly.
He's a professional. He's got duties, a high-level professional, actually. I mean, I never put the story together with this guy, with just the name and the way that he often talks in third person on, the bully has arrived and blah, 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 and all, and that kind of stuff. I never put the story together before, and it's like one of those cases where it would have been the last matchup that you ever picked in a lineup. That which one is IRC? It could have been bad though, Cindy. Yes, it could have actually been a tragic situation, and because he didn't know what my reaction would be to that. I might have had a heart attack.
One thing I wanted to say is that I reveal where I'm at live sometimes, but I never reveal where I'm urban camping at. And this was a location that was a possible spot for urban camping. And I think that today, after what happened today, it could have been bad. It could have not been IRC bully. It could have been somebody else that was up to no good.
Well, it could have been the real deal.
It could have been the real deal.
Given the neighborhood that
exactly. And I think that right now, I hope this teaches Rosie O'Kelly and all of you YouTubers out there a lesson that going live and giving your location is not a joke. And if this didn't wake up Rosie O'Kelly, I don't know what will. But this gave Rosie a wake-up call, because Rosie is shaken by this, and I can tell by her facial expression. I can tell by the way
I was definitely.
She's definitely shaken by this, and that's and I think that.
When I was videoing his encounter, I figured I might as well get my video camera just in case the video survives, but at that time the situation was calm. I kind of knew who he was, but I wanted to get him on camera, but my hand was definitely shaking when I didn't have my selfie stick. I'm just manually holding it, and I was still very much shaken up at that. One
question I want to ask you about this whole incident after it all happened, which, like we all say, it could have been bad, it could have been someone else. Where do you stand right now on going live and giving your location? Where do you?
Well, I didn't give my location. Normally, when we've been traveling, I don't care whether it's Detroit, it's Toronto, it's Buffalo, it's Chicago, wherever we're going. Usually, he'll just ring up my phone and say, "I'm going off the air now." But I never got that call, so I just proceeded to keep going. And all of a sudden, I see we're turning in by Piggly Wiggly, and there's all of a sudden we're stopped there. So there wasn't much I could do about it at that particular point, because it didn't follow the usual protocol of what we had done before. But as it turned out, it was actually a good thing, in the long run that I was still live because it was able not only for IRC Bully to find our location and come and see us, but then within an hour, all of a sudden I hear hooting and hollering on the parking lot, and here comes one of my old friends from YouTube, Desert Donny, comes rolling in his beautiful Phoenix high top. You talk about a beautiful camper van. He comes in. I thought that the guy was in Arizona still, but as soon as he rounded the corner and started hooping and hollering, I knew it was Donny. And I had the pleasure of doing a review. He came over and said he was happy to meet us. Spent some time. We got a chance to do some videos of his beautiful camper van, which he's lovingly restoring and doing a beautiful job. And in the course of that, he offered to take us out and pay it forward and buy us some dinner. Marshall had a chance to drive his camper van, and Donnie had us drive in the Lisa Marie. So it turned out to be a great dinner, a great time we had, and exchanged numbers. So he's looking forward to, when we get down to Arizona, to having a meetup down there. He's doing a lot of work on that. What did you think of his?
I think
he's a nice guy. Number one.
Well, first of all, the reaction after all this happened with our good friend IRC Bully, that was already.
So Rosie, when is he leaving? Who you mean, Nicole? Nicole, it's been a good 2 weeks here. Okay, we haven't really had any controversy. There hasn't been any streams that have been negative. It's been a positive experience. I'm leaving on Tuesday morning for the West Coast, so he won't be coming back with me. But it's been a very controversy-free couple weeks here. But go ahead, Marshall. Continue.
After all this excitement of meeting IRC Bully, I was already, that was a lot to take in. And then all of a sudden, I see a beautiful camper van pull up, and then there's this guy that's waving. And I thought to myself, well, this has got to be one of my fans for sure. It can't be one of Rosie's fans. And then I see this beautiful van coming up, and I'm thinking, okay, hey, this has got to be. And all of a sudden, this man steps out of the van, and
well, he's hooting and hollering. I'm giving him a high five.
And all of a sudden, he comes up towards Rosie instead of me, and then I said to myself, that doesn't make sense. If I'm the king of the free world, if I'm the king of Class B vans and camping, why is this guy coming up to Rosie instead of me? What does Rosie have to do with this? This can't be Rosie's fan. It's my fan. And all of a sudden, I realized maybe a few weeks ago or a month ago, I had seen a video on a Tribe's channel of a camper van, and I thought to myself, okay, I've seen this van somewhere on the internet, on YouTube. And then all of a sudden, this man says, I'm Don Juan.
I understand, Nicole. Hey, Cobra John.
And then I realized, okay, this was a guy that was in our community that used to do hangouts. And then I put two and two together and kind of remembered who he was. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool. And I didn't understand, if he has a Class B camper van, is he one of my fans? Did he watch me a lot, or Rosie? I think he watched a little bit of us. But overall, it was a treat to see his van. I did have my own video on it that I'm going to put out. It was a beautiful van. It was a treat to meet Don Juan. This guy's a really nice guy. He's a gentleman. And talking with him...
Very polished individual.
Exactly. Talking with him and also the IRC Bully, these are two very polished, nice gentlemen, and we learn a lot about Milwaukee and the good areas and bad areas and where to go and where to not go.
Hey, how you doing, Janie?
And I want to thank him for paying it forward tonight to us, and also even the IRC Bully paid it forward to us tonight. I'm not going to say how much, with an undisclosed amount for dinner. And it was an honor to meet Desert Donny, or if you want to call him Don Juan. It was really cool to meet him and to see his van, and it was just really cool. It was really unexpected, And that was what was so so cool about this Milwaukee trip, this element of surprise, you know, with Don Juan and IRC Bully coming up and meeting us. And Rosie was just complaining earlier about people in Chicago not coming out to meet us. There's people that are watching us from Chicago, but nobody came out. But here, Don Juan came out and IRC Bully came out. And that's what Rosie really likes.
Love that.
And
Yeah.
especially it happened on an element of surprise where it was unexpected. And Rosie really likes to meet people. That's her thing. She's a people's person. And if you guys surprise meet Rosie or Stream Sniper, that's what she likes. But it was an honor to meet these two gentlemen. It was
really
a great
was.
action-filled night, and you know, I hope that they show up on my streams, and I think it was fun, and you know, that's pretty much all I have to say
take
about
care,
that.
Nicole.
But
Have a good day.
it was pretty cool. So this was the cherry on the cake, the icing on the cake of this Great Lakes trip with Rosie. It ended good for her, so I encourage you guys, reach out to Rosie, send her an email. She'll meet anybody. You don't have to be on camera. You can be on camera, but that's what she likes.
Storm Dancer.
That's what she enjoys.
For
is
my
meeting
part, to
people.
meet up with Donny was good. He's every bit, you know, an individual. I always knew Donny's a very handsome guy, and you know, beautiful blue eyes, and to have him pull up in the van, and it's also a chance for him to showcase what he's been doing. You know, it's not like there's a lot of people in Milwaukee that have camper vans or that have RVs and things like that. So when like we come to town, I'm glad he took the opportunity to say, hey, I'm gonna go meet those two individuals. I know exactly where they are. But it's also a chance for him to showcase the high quality renovations and the work that he's done. Everything from the handling and stability of the steering and suspension of his camper van to the interior touches he did, even going so far as to reinforce the wooden to reinforce underneath of the shower in his unit, because his was cracked, mine was cracked on our bath unit. This is an individual that really cares about quality work, and it shows. He paid good money for this van, but he wants to make it pristine inside, and I appreciated the work that he did. So it was a chance for him to also showcase some.
Yeah, I think that I didn't show the stabilization thing items that he put on his rig, which I should have shown
that was
that.
a critical thing.
But overall, I love camper vans. I showed the van. I think today reality hit Rosie a little bit in a lot of ways. I think the way it hit you is one of your followers, even mine a little bit, you know, Don Juan, bought a Class B camper van. It's a nice one. A lot of people are buying, and there's more and more. The community's growing. And I think it gave Rosie a wake-up call that not to ignore the RV community. That there's people even that watch her, just like this man Don Juan that bought a Class B camper van. Don't underestimate, you know, that the RV community is growing. This is growing and stuff. And I think that gave her a wake-up call. And as far as IRC Bully, you know, he gave Rosie a wake-up call in a lot of ways. Not only by the element of surprise and pranking her. I think, well, maybe this was a prank. Was it kind of a dirty prank? Probably. Was it an offensive prank? Probably. But you know something? I think he gave a message to Rosie out there that in the end, that, like I said, he wanted to give her a wake-up call. He was upset about how I'm being treated. On her platform, he let that to be known to her, and I appreciate that he did that. I don't agree with the prank that he pulled. You know, I don't agree with that. But at the same time, I think overall he wanted to give Rosie a wake-up call. Not only her, he wants to give all you people a wake-up call, because that could have been you. That could have been you. And you know something? When you tick somebody off out there, and when you really tick them off and push their buttons, you don't know what they're going to do. There's people out there that are packing heat like IRC Bully. And it only takes like that and they'll snap. So, I'm not saying IRC Bully's that kind of guy. I'm just saying, people out there, he wanted to let Rosie know, he wanted to let all you people know, he doesn't appreciate the hate. So stop the hate. And today, I think ultimately that's what his message was. I don't agree about how the way he went about it, but ultimately, in the end, I think that's why he pulled this prank, because he wanted to let Rosie know and let all you people know, stop the hate. That's just my opinion
I
and
don't know.
stuff.
I think he just wanted to meet us. He knew he lives in the Milwaukee area, and I think he wanted to meet us. Of course, respect is a two-way street. You generally get back what you give on YouTube. These past 14, 20 days, whatever it has been, from Toronto to Buffalo and Detroit and Chicago, have given a chance for, I think, things to calm down in the Elvis Travels world, to focus on positive things like the box build and all that.
Yeah.
So from when I leave on Tuesday, I'll be interested in seeing. I have no vested interest in it. I'm not responsible for what comes out of other people's mouths these days. My mantra for 2019. But hopefully he'll pull positive and help and have a little more forbearance for things. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. IRC Bully did express today that it's his hope that things are always a little more balanced on the YouTube world. But I'm not investing in that.
Well,
I'm letting a Bully on board because he took the time to come out and meet me. He paid it forward to us, and at the end of the day, he turned out to be an extremely high quality individual, a professional person who enjoys being on live streams, and why not? So I'm very happy about that. Blessings from Ohio. Stay safe out there. Elvis from Daverly. Hello, Miss Know It Some. Cindy Lopez. How are you doing, sweetie?
there's a lot
I
of
also
people.
did the video tonight of leaving the hood and going to safety zone tonight here. So I think that you'll enjoy that too. Looking at the ride back back to the downtown area of Milwaukee. I had a very quick crash course tonight in the layout of Milwaukee. It's a city that I did not know. I knew National Guard was here a couple years ago. They had terrible race riots up on some of the streets here. I got a quick crash course and what the safe areas are and what the danger areas are. I've got a plan for tomorrow. I'm not going to shy away. It's the good in the hood in my thing, so it's going to be a chooch for the good side of Milwaukee, and then Elvis may or may not choose to come along. I've been advised that the route that's taken has been a place of traditional confrontations and problems on the streets here. I'm not going to reveal the street that it's going to be on, but I'm going to do a live stream on a very epic run through Milwaukee. But there will be good things to see. In every single city, there's good people and there's bad people. I don't care whether it's Greenwich, Connecticut, or wherever the heck it is. There's going to be opportunists, there's going to be troublemakers, but for the most part, I don't care the socioeconomic level. People are people, and I engage and I wave and I'm friendly to people and try to deal with a level of respect and respect above all for people. So it's going to be interesting. It'll be an interesting day tomorrow. It'll be a good end cap on my trip. Tuesday morning, I take off from Milwaukee and initially head southwest and then due west to get back to the Rancho. A very harrowing day today. Hello, Joan Ann Smith, but a day that turned out beyond my expectations, considering when I first got into Milwaukee here. It's something I hope never happens again here, but as Marshall says, I should have also done my research a little better about where I was recommending that we get off, to get off of the highway here. I made a mistake with and I have to say that mistake could have been very costly today, and that was my mistake.
I
own that, but thank God I kept the stream on, or I would not have met the people that that I met today, because these local individuals were immediately able to find out where our location was and come accordingly.
Now, let me just
No, he
say,
wasn't using. This is not the kind of person. This person has a CCW. They're not going to carry blanks around in a weapon. I'm sorry.
let me just say this for
You
the
don't
record.
carry blanks with a CCW. So
Let me just say this for the record. In Michigan, when Yeah Man was looking for me and trying to find my location or dox my urban camp location, I'm not the kind of person that likes to. I'm not like Rosie in a
a
lot of
Glock
ways.
9mm.
I don't. Yeah, when IRC Bully says, "Well, who do you know that carries a Glock?" and something just flashed in my head. I remember he made videos. That he's in the Wisconsin, Milwaukee area, but he made videos of the Glock, and then it just hit my head. Boom! I'm like, okay, it's IRC Bully, and then I knew I was fine. But the difference between me and Rosie is I don't like meeting people on people's time. I like to meet people on my time. I like to know who I'm meeting, why I'm meeting them, where and when I'm meeting them.
I hear you, Jay.
I don't like the element of surprise. I really don't like to be stream sniped. But Rosie likes that. Rosie is a person who's I consider her, after this Great Lakes trip. I've considered Rosie a completely fearless person. Rosie will talk to anyone, anywhere. She'll tell anybody where she's at, and she'll chooch in any hood. She's literally fearless. I don't think there's anywhere that Rosie that wouldn't she just walk out of her rig and chooch without even a pepper spray.
Hey, Mark.
And I think for all you people out there that are watching, I'm not going to call you fans or followers or subscribers. You're all people. We're all people. What Rosie really enjoys, the one thing that is her passion, is if you get out with her and chooch with her on a street in the hood. That's what she likes to do.
Penny.
That's what she really enjoys doing. And I never knew this about Rosie until recent years, when she started chooching little by little in Santa Rosa. Now she started chooching with D-Dubs in Reno and Vegas. This is what she really enjoys. If you want to call this urban exploration, whatever the term for it is, this is what she's really into. I mean, she's got so much passion for this.
Thank you, Patricia.
As much as I have passion for Class B vans, that's what she really enjoys doing.
Yeah. I am really,
that's.
I'm really stimulated to redouble my efforts for the vanning life. But part of me will be sad after, basically almost 30 days of sleeping in the van every single night. This van has done great duty for me. This van gives me a stealth edge that I enjoy. Yeah, I put myself out there a little bit on streams with announcing locations and where we're going, but part of the reason is my hope that people will, hey, Rosie's coming up my way, and people did reach out on the stream today. Hey, I'm an hour north of Wisconsin. I'm in Fond du Lac. Why don't you, if you're gonna come up this far? That's what I like when people come out, and so it's a double-edged sword. Yes, you could run into some band encounter. Honestly, I had hope today that Beta Boy Elvis, he was on the side chat going up. I kind of secretly hoped that he might pop over and say hi, because he's been somebody that I've liked on the YouTube in a while. But everybody takes their own pace of what they want to do on you, and I don't hold it against anybody for that. I appreciate him being on
so you showed us going to Rostov also live?
Yes. No,
See,
I wasn't live I wasn't live at that time, but we had announced today on the morning hangout that you said there's a place on the way up there. It's called the Broad House. It's a famous place, and I had hoped that he would be meeting us, but at least he was on the side chat, and he said, "Hey, that's my exit coming up," and all that stuff. So you can't meet everybody all the time, and I understand that. But I was really thrilled that Donny had come through tonight to show off his van. And like I say, after my initial shock and awe of IRC Bully, I was really happy to have made his acquaintance too. And You know, he had been a wrench holder on my channel for a while.
I gotta say, for a man like, it was a pleasure to meet Donny. Donny to me is
Yes, I'm kicked out of the void. Sorry, Carlos.
Donny is a real nice guy, or Don Juan, but I've only seen him recently in my channel ever since Dave came on YouTube about over a year ago. But I guess he's been watching Rosie for a while. But it was a pleasure to meet him. But IRC Bully goes back probably to 2014.
I don't even know what CB's talking about. Rosie put me in a timeout.
And
I have moderators.
I gotta say though, it was really an honor and pleasure to meet a man like IRC Bully, a man that's been watching me, like I said, from the very beginning until now, and has been there for me through thick and thin, who's had my back, who's sit there and battled all you trolls one by one. This is a person that it was really heartfelt to me that I know this person.
He's doing a nice restoration.
You know.
All right, Marshall. Well, he's a wrencher on your chat, on my chat. Yeah. We don't do a lot of wrenching and removing and that kind of stuff, so he's certainly welcome to take that position. He has no interest in really wrenching and removing people, but it'll be his at his discretion too, and you handle it the way you see fit on your channel. I think for the most part. In my book, and you may disagree, on these, 15, 18 days that we've traveled together on the Great Lakes tour, I've seen my chat, I've seen my moderators on their own internal message board, pull positive on here and move in a more positive direction. I think a lot of the tenor of the chat has been more uplifted and positive too. Will it stay that way? It's not up to me to determine. You got to row your own boat. I got to row mine. You run your channel the way you want to run it. I run my channel the way I want to run it. And I have to give my chat an A for the way that people have been. And there's a lot of people that would like to wring my neck for traveling with you, but for me it's been a positive experience. He's been a guide in areas like Chicago. He's been a fearless explorer and raider of restaurants and places to go and things to see that I normally wouldn't see in cities. There's been a true upside of his, I don't want to say leadership, but his ability to find things, his ability to know what's good to local, to have a local experience, so you don't end up going to a McDonald's to eat. You get a real taste of an area. So I'm going to declare that there were a lot of positives in it too, and doing the box build and spending the time and seeing him work on that and put the effort. I really enjoyed that. I have to say it was a positive experience. There's not a single chat that was held here or a video that was negative in any channel. We had chased by some screwball in Detroit. We had multiple police encounters in Sterling Heights, a police encounter at the Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan, with Dearborn, Michigan police approaching us within the museum and having that kind of the issue, and still through it all to continue to pull positive and then not to come on and make a big, the trolls did this or the trolls. Just deal with it. Give over your information, get it done within 5 minutes, and just move on. It's the dwelling on things and all that keeps the pot stirred. And
I think one of the really cool things about YouTube is that you can say to yourself, which is pretty amazing, that in every major city in this country, there's somebody. Hey, Nocturnal. There's somebody that knows you.
Hey, Cobra John.
I think that's what's one of the most amazing things about being a YouTuber, that you can declare that someone knows you, or you know someone that watches you or supports you.
I know that, Cheryl.
In every city. And that's why I always try to connect with people and ask them, where is everybody from? I try to connect with people. And that's what we're going to do, is branch out and connect with people and stuff. And as far as I've seen, Rosie, the majority of these women in the drama community have been mostly positive. I only see a few people that are negative, and it's these trolls that, um, I mean, it's just the same people over and over again. You see the same 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 names, and we don't know if it's 5 people with 20 accounts, but it's the same. The hate is coming from a very small core group of people. It's not a mass majority as far as when you talk about hate or negativity or trolls and stuff.
Well, I think you control a lot of that destiny in your own hands too. You know, I mean,
it's not.
If you continuously pull positive on YouTube, it's hard after a while for a negative to overcome that positivity, and after a while, you know, people do. I've seen people do turn positive, and they do move in a positive direction. You know, Donny, who knows everything that goes on in YouTube and all the drama and all that stuff, still decides to put it in gear tonight and come down and meet. I give him a lot of credit. I give him a lot of credit for that, for being an independent person to make his own decision. I don't think he'll ever see Marshall in the same light, having sat down and eaten dinner with him and paid it forward, and having a very civilized conversation about the Class B life and about his plans and the plans for the future of the channel. So,
well, to me, it was a treat. It's an honor to see somebody, not only that's a gentleman, not only that's a man that I guess not all of us know him, but some of us know him, but also a person that purchased a vehicle, a Class B motorhome, to get into the lifestyle. To me, it's exciting. To me, it's a lot of fun, and I'm glad that, like I said, that gave Rosie a wake-up call. There's a lot of people, probably just like Don Juan, that are watching her that already have a Class B or are going to get a Class B. And I've told Rosie this many times: don't underestimate the RV community. I know she loves the drama community and all the women and stuff, but there's also RV community. It's growing by leaps and bounds. It's growing every day.
Yeah, I like it.
And don't underestimate it. And Don Juan is an example of that. And there's many other people like Don Juan. Like I said, don't underestimate it. So
I'm very happy to have met him today. Hopefully tomorrow is a positive day. There'll be some risk aspect to it, but if you're going to get the video and you're going to get a balanced look at a city, you can get the presentation side, the polished side of the diamond. You can also get the coal side of the diamond, the unpolished side, the well, I mean, it's diamonds come out of coal. It's compressed coal, right? Over millions of years, it becomes a diamond. Well, cities have a polished side and they have a raw side. So it's a question of going out and I want to leave here having a balanced view of Milwaukee. I got to tell you, my view right now is distinctly negative here on Milwaukee. I'm not going to lie. There's an undertone of tension here. I go into a restaurant and I can kind of sense it here. You know, no matter where I go here, there's police observation, vehicles all over the place. Those things they park with the flashing blue lights and red lights on it. It's a city that pretty much looks like it's under siege to me in a good measure of it. Is it a big tourist town? No. But is it a convention town? It is a convention town, but I have to be very careful in this city. I kind of get a sense in my head that if something's going to go bad, this is the city that it's going to go bad in up here at Milwaukee. The nickname is Milwaukee. As I was told tonight, there's very distinct borders between bad areas and good areas, but I hope at the end of it all to be able to convey the look, as I've done with every other city, by having an in-depth look at it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. I'm not sure if Marshall will when I leave. It's not a city that I think I could be comfortable in for an extended period of time. For me, it's like a one-shot Johnny to come into a city like this and extract what I can. There's a definite tension. There's a definite feeling in the way that people look at you when you're on the seat. There's very aggressive panhandling here, to the point that if you don't give, you might get a squeegee smashed into your windshield, or you could or scrape down the side of your
Well,
car. This is no joke
I want to give a
here.
little bit my feeling about Wisconsin in general, because I've never really spent that much time in Wisconsin, but I can tell you what I feel. The first city that I've ever came to Wisconsin was, or visited a little bit thoroughly, is Manitowoc, Wisconsin, because Mr. X's wife had a house there. And Manitowoc it's a town stuck in the 1950s. People literally stop for you to cross the street. You don't see that in many cities. It's a very, very old school feeling town. I've never seen something like that. It's just very old school, very slow. And then when you come to Kenosha, Wisconsin, well, and I've known this for years. There's a lot of people from Chicago that came to Wisconsin for all the free social services, free apartments, welfare, food stamps. And you get this feeling of just a hard-working, blue-collar town. But you pull that camera out, like I did at the Brat Stop, and the Brat Stop is a very famous place. They got a stage in there where you could have a concert or whatever, and all this, like a big bar and a cheese shop and a sausage shop. But I got a feeling people were looking at me when I pulled that camera out, and the look on their face wasn't that look of we're welcoming tourists. It was like, why do you have that out? It was just a blank stare on their face, and it was very eerie feeling and stuff. And then coming into the part of Milwaukee where me and Rosie were at, where we met IRC Bully, it just didn't look that good. It looked like it was a pretty rough area. And the drivers here are very aggressive, much more aggressive than Chicago. I haven't interacted with police, so I can't speak on that, but I've heard they're pretty aggressive too. But I think there's good parts of it and bad parts of it. I don't think Rosie's going to spend the required amount of time here to really get to know Milwaukee. I think she's making kind of a fast call on Milwaukee. She's only been here a few hours, but
No, I'm just imagine what I've gone through in those first few hours. I thought my life could be taken away from me by a masked man leaning into my window in the driver's side. If it had happened to you, Marshall, I don't know what the equivalent experience would have been, but it's going to take me a little while to get over that and shake off, and then having to be basically escorted out of the rough area we were in to the safety of another area of Milwaukee. I'll see things in a totally different light tomorrow, I'm sure. When I get down on the Lake Michigan waterfront, it's supposed to be tremendous down there. There's some nice surprises down there, and then to cap it off with a hood with the hood chooch, I think will be an epic balance for the stream. I'm hoping to get one place last night that would be an epic Milwaukee dining experience. It's a Monday night. It might be a little difficult to find something, but something that really defines Milwaukee, I think, would be, I don't know whether it's pizza, I don't know whether it's the sausages and bratwurst or whatever, but I'm hoping to find that good night, John. Hoping to find that uniquely Milwaukee experience to be the end cap on my trip. I mean, Chicago was kind of a walk in the park. I rode through areas today that I would put on an equivalent just on site with the south side of Chicago. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't think that the area that we were in was that bad. I've seen worse.
No, I'm saying, but what we drove through to get to where we ultimately ended up today. That's my point. Okay, you can see on the drive through.
Right. But so far it's been a pretty interesting experience. Milwaukee is a very spread out city, and it's I guess there's a lot of things here, but I don't think in the short time, like I said, that Rosie's going to be here, I don't think she's going to get a good idea of what it's really like.
Well, it's certainly not going to be like 10 days in Chicago and a week in Detroit and a week in Toronto.
Right.
Yeah, I'm up here. I can't imagine I'll be, I may fall in love with the city tomorrow. I got to really like Detroit. My initial experience in Detroit was horrifying. with being followed and tailed by somebody on a misty, rainy night, and destroying a tire on my van, having to get alignment done and having to purchase a new tire, smashed my cell phone glass. You know, it's and yet after all of that, and the ridiculous way that left-hand turns are made in Detroit on the mile roads and things like that, to still pull positive, very positive about the city of Detroit. So would I go back to Detroit again? I'd go back in a heartbeat in Detroit, because there's great boondocking areas, there's great food things, and I'll tell you what, the first night I got in Detroit, I was ready to just turn around and drive back out again and head the hell out of there. So, and just skip it. And then what a difference a day made, the way things went the next day. Battling the heat, finally the vicious heat is let up here.
Yep.
It is extremely comfortable up here
yeah.
in Milwaukee. Night after night, not having the AC, 88 degrees at bedtime stuff. But I proved that I can endure that. And dude, now comes the reward of virtually perfect weather up here in Wisconsin. My first time in the state of Wisconsin, by the way. And I'm very happy to be here. But finally to catch a break with the weather and have a day tomorrow that'll be 75 degrees and sunny, and it should be exceptional. This has been a Great Lakes tour of brutal heat conditions, almost day after day after day.
Yep.
I will be showing the encounter with Bully with Marshall. Once I knew who it was, as he started to walk towards Marshall, I grabbed my camera and recorded some of that. So I think I'll be putting that up on the video too. So, be careful if you're a prankster. Yeah, it's all fun. This one turned out to be good, but stuff happens and you have to be awful careful. That's right. Give the city a chance. Like I said, I spend a day tomorrow and I might be determined on my next Great Lakes tour, which will encompass Toledo and Cleveland. I may feel like this is a city that I definitely want to come back to. And
well, according to some of my research online, about the LGBT area community here. There's a huge LGBT community here, like Toronto and Chicago. So as far as that is thriving. I'm sure there's good areas and bad areas.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. Yep. Anyway, I'm going to shut my pie hole now, and thank you all for watching and being with us tonight. Once again, IRC Bully. We didn't meet under the best circumstances, but we parted as very good friends. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the channel. You'll certainly have a wrench for paying it forward and taking the time to come out of the shadows and meet, which is a terrific thing on YouTube. I also want to thank Donny for paying it forward tonight with a nice meal, and for being the quality individual he is with the persnickety approach that he has to Class B vanning, and the standard he sets for himself in his Class B should be a model for you, Marshall. Speaking of models, to see somebody, an objective that you should shoot for, in my opinion, to make your van the very best, the best of the best that Class B camper van can be. Anyway, any last words that you want to put on before I cap it tonight here?
Yeah, my last words here for tonight is, tonight was a very exciting day. We both got an adrenaline rush. We had our ups and our downs. At the end of the day, it all turned out good to me. It seems like this Milwaukee trip here was like the icing on the cake to this Great Lakes tour that Rosie did. As far as you mentioning Don Juan and his van, yes, he does have a beautiful van. Yes, he did some beautiful upgrades on the van, but it's not how nice your van is or what you have in it. It's all about the lifestyle. And there's nobody that's lived this lifestyle more than me, and I've lived it for 4 years. For 4 years I've been living with this lifestyle on the road. And all I want is for people who follow the van life to just respect that. I'm as real as it gets. I'm not staying in anybody's attic or motel room or basement. I'm living on the road. I'm living in my van. I'm living off grid, and I've been doing it for 4 years. And that's the bottom line, and that's the reality. And anybody who watches van life or is into that, you know, you can watch my channel. That's what my life is all about. And it was a pleasure to meet Donny and see his van. It was a great van, and I appreciate what he's doing.
Night Nocturnal.
He's doing with that van, you know, and
no problem, Colleen. And I'm always subscribed to your channel,
but
Colleen.
You know, it's like I said, it's not about what kind of van you have or what you got into it. Is if you're doing the lifestyle, and anybody who's wants to know about the lifestyle as far as the van life.
All right, Marshall, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so I just want to say this in conclusion. This trip will be wrapping up. It'll be a high-speed journey back to the Rancho. The only stop that I'm really interested in taking is Cheyenne, Wyoming. I would like to have a chance to explore Cheyenne a little bit, get back to the Rancho for a few weeks, and then it's off to Las Vegas for probably a week again in Las Vegas. Back from Las Vegas and down the Pacific Coast Highway for the California coastal trip down there. And then in October for the Southwest U.S., Yuma, Arizona, Phoenix, Scottsdale, Flagstaff, all through that area, Santa Fe, New Mexico. And that should be an epic trip. And then in the winter, the trip to Florida, the Southwest, Texas, across the great state of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. So I will be meeting up with D again in Las Vegas. I didn't even see his message that he had called today, so I need to return his call probably tomorrow and see what's on his mind. A lot of travel, a lot of adventures coming up. This has been an epic Great Lakes Tour 2019, otherwise known as CamperCon 2019. The adventure. It was really wild today, going down the road with 2 camper vans being sandwiched between those two. I don't know what people thought on the highway, because RVing does not seem to be a big thing up here on the Great Lakes.
It was great.
It seems to be camping.
I just want to say lastly, really, it was an honor and pleasure to meet Don Juan, and seeing his beautiful camper van. I'm really, really, really happy that he bought one and he's joined the lifestyle. And it was also absolutely an honor and pleasure to finally meet IRC Bully after all these years. And like I said, this was the cherry on top of the cake, the icing on top of the cake. And
good night, Joey.
And it was an honor and pleasure, and it was really a lot of fun. And I don't know how long I'm going to stay here in Wisconsin, but Rosie, you can tell by her voice, you know, she's got a little bit of road fatigue, and she's been on the road for 30 days. But I've been on the road
6 weeks, 6 weeks today.
But 40, I've been on the road for
42 days, baby. But I've been moving. I've logged 8,000 miles.
But there's but I've logged
500 miles in the city of Detroit. I've done more miles in 42 days than you've done in a year and a half.
Rosie, you might have done more miles than me.
Man, I am a road traveler, baby.
Hey,
a traveling nomad.
She's a bona fide nomad.
Woo!
But when it comes to camping and when it comes to living this life, there's only one king of the road, and you're looking at him. 4 years. 4 years, ladies and gentlemen. And you just got to learn to love that and learn to live with it, because there's only one king of the road, and you're looking at him.
With that, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and close the hangout. Bid you all peace and have a great Sunday, great Monday, wherever you are. Thank you for being on the channel. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it sure has been a great adventure. I want to cap it off with a big day in Milwaukee. No regrets doing this 90-mile journey up from Chicago to Milwaukee. Puts a great seal on the Great Lakes tour. All right, everybody, have a good night. Brown-eyed girl.